A full house here at Scotstoun. Richard Cockrell has rewarded his side for their performance last week by making only one alteration to the starting 15. That comes in the number 6 jersey with Jamie Ritchie's timely return after Luke Hamilton misses out with a head knock picked up last week. Behind the pack, halfbacks Henry Purgos, Jakob van der Vaart pull the strings. Christine and James Johnson combined for the 4th consecutive game, with the power and pace providing spades with all shapes and sizes represented by Darcy Graham, Blair Kinghorn and round 11 man of the match Duhan van der Merwe. There's Jamie Ritchie returning, brings perhaps a little bit more mobility and pace around the pitch, albeit Luke Hamilton was outstanding last week. And there are Glasgow. The Scottish head-to-head was the only festive derby last weekend, settled by more than 7 points. And the Warriors will be very, very keen to ensure that the trilogy of games goes to a final showdown here at Scotstoun in April.
One more notch longer, come on!
Scotstoun is jumping for the Scottish derby. Glasgow led out by captains Ryan Wilson and Callum Gibbons. Dave Rennie makes 6 changes to his starting 15 as his side face their noisy neighbours for the 2nd time in 7 days. 3 of the changes up front. Darcy Ray is in a tight head for his 10th start of the season. Tim Swinson in the boiler house. And Ryan Wilson returns alongside co-captain and Callum Gibbons and Matt Fagerson in the back row. In the backs, Alex Dunbar dons the Warriors jersey for the first time since mid-October. At outside centre, Nico Matawalu is on the left wing and George Horn steps out to allow Ali Price a like-to-like change. There's our man in the middle, George Clancy, taking control of his 109th Pro 14 match.
Okay.
It's a sellout at Scotstoun Stadium, the oldest derby in club rugby, and it's the 2nd chapter of the 1872 Cup story this season. Valuable conference points and domestic bragging rights at stake. And it'll be that man, Stuart Hogg, to get us underway, with Glasgow playing left to right with the wind at their backs, and it is a stiff wind. And he kicks deep into Edinburgh territory, well taken by Bill Mata, the Edinburgh talisman. Joining me in the commentary box this afternoon, fresh up the stairs having delivered the match ball, Mr. Doddy Weir, OBE, and Scottish rugby legend Chris Patterson. What do you think for this
by the way?
MBE, there we go. I feel very insignificant, but great to have you here, fellas.
Yeah, good to be here and looking forward to this one. Obviously another derby, a Scottish derby. 7 days after last week, and there's so many bits and pieces carry on from one week to the next, but they kind of disappear as soon as the ball's kicked and as soon as the ball this game started. Traditional from Edinburgh, really good catch the kick-off, good box kick, good chase, and they've got to throw into the first line out.
And last week was a rarity for them, getting out the blocks, starting very strongly in the first quarter, not something they've been particularly good at. Coming away from home, so important, but it's Glasgow who steal that one. And first touch for Ali Price, hitting his hooker Grant Stewart, just signed his first full-time contract. He gets the ball moving, flat ball across the front from Pete Horn to Stuart Hogg. Ali Price again, there's Ollie Kebble, big South African ball carrier, big impact, 13 carries last week. There's Stewart again, flat ball, George Clancy deeming that one to have been forward.
Stop, we're all already.
Oh yes, that's what I like to see. No, we don't. That's not part of the game. We're only just going on the tactics. We talked this before the game. There's Edinburgh trying to change tactics a little bit. The first line out in the game a week ago, 3 to the front. That one they try to change, which puts a lot of pressure onto the hooker because the conditions aren't the best. They tried to the tail, which allowed Glasgow to win the ball. So first step to Glasgow, Edinburgh's got to rethink maybe what they're doing. We can see Hastings as well doing a lot of little short passes at the moment.
Yeah, it's just drifted forward, wasn't it? Pretty flat, and the wind probably helped that. That's the follow-up there, Hamish Watson. But you talk about the line, it was actually Ryan Wilson who won the ball at the tail. It's another the value having Ryan Wilson back your side as a line option at that tail as well. Well covered defensively, but We go from the first line out to the first scrum, and this is where Edinburgh have had dominance over the last few campaigns. Certainly the last weekend, I think, against Glasgow, that their set piece allowed them the platform to get into the game. Let's see what happens here.
Keep it square and steady.
And there we go. Early free kick. Be interesting to see.
Shifting it.
Likely re-scrum here, I would think, as you touched on, Chris. The Edinburgh pack dominance
So I'll tell you
last
what we'll
week
do here
at
now.
scrum time in
I'll give you
particular.
a mark
There's
and
only
you stay
1
just to
kilo
the left
between
of
the
it,
two
and that means
packs.
that you have your
Glasgow
slot to go into, okay? I don't want you
896
head
kilos,
to head.
Edinburgh 897. They're making that extra kilogram count.
Yeah, but we go into weight quite a bit. But I'm always agree. Technique weighs a lot more than what weight does.
And also control, Doddy, as well. Not every scrum is the offensive team looking to drive it as far forward as they can. Sometimes they want it steady, sometimes they want it up on the right or up on the left. It's a control element as well.
Keep it steady.
It's
Kinghorn
sorry,
out the back of this scrum. He's drifting left as the scrum goes up on the loose head. Bill Mata controlling at the base, and there is the scrum dominance. And big impact from that front five of Edinburgh. Blair Kinghorn, who I said was in behind the scrum, in to congratulate. You see, all Edinburgh 15, you can get a double bed sheet over the top of them there.
That was a very impressive scrum there from Edinburgh. That just shows the way.
Right, there's your
We
mark.
talk local derby. That's 1-up to Edinburgh at the moment.
Now, Chris, for you've been down pitch side with Doddy before the game. It is a stiff breeze, isn't it? He's got 42 metres here, Jakob van der Walt.
Yeah, it is, but just looking at the flags on the far side, you see the top of the stand at the far side from us at commentary. I think the wind's dropped a little bit. This will be right into the wind. It is coming straight down the field. I don't think it's quite as strong as it was earlier on, maybe about 30 minutes or an hour ago, but Jakob van der Walt, who's kicking particularly well this season, will have to strike this one well, because it is, well, as you say, 42 metres out, and it is into the wind that, well, it still remains here at Scotstoun.
He's 12 from 12 in the Pro 14 this season. Lines it up, and it's a clean strike. And that is only going one way, straight between the sticks. And it's the first blow for Edinburgh.
It's been a very impressive statement so far from Edinburgh, except maybe from one line out they've lost, but very dominant scrum there that set them up for this penalty.
That's an excellent penalty, into the wind, the first one of the day. You just have to concentrate on the strike being good, and it certainly was. Sailed over into the wind from 42 metres.
There we go, Stuart Hogg goes deep again. Good chase down that left wing, and Bill Mata's been turned over. Here's Ali Price again, Swinson,
Advantage over.
Ryan Wilson carries to within 8 metres. Schumann over the top of it. Oh, and he's rewarded with a turnover.
Well, he did wonderfully well, Pierre Schumann. That's him. His 2 penalties have gone to Edinburgh. He's won them both. First one to scrum, the second one from the breakdown. This is a wonderful chase by Thomas Seymour, forcing the error from Bill Mata, and then when the ball comes out, Glasgow keep it moving. Swinson shifts it in that battle there. Just Schumann coming second in, getting strong over the ball and winning the race ahead of Alex Dunbar and winning the turnover.
And not an area that they're well known for, Edinburgh. I think they're the lowest turnover team in the competition, but that one there, so timely from Schumann.
Yeah, and sometimes these statistics can be misleading, because Edinburgh also, I think, the highest or second highest possession based team in the league, so if you've got a lot more possession, there's fewer opportunities to turn over.
Boys, when you look into it, I was thinking that's a bad thing to kick the ball to Mata, one of the strongest players, so he'll be kicking himself because he should have got that ball back.
So it's a funny one at the front, beautifully done to Ritchie. McAnally down the blind side. Nico Matawalu does very well to get him into touch. Edinburgh make 20 metres but give up possession, but clever play there at line out time. George Clancy, shrill blow of the whistle.
It's not your line out, you know that. You're stopping the quick throw in. Penalty in 15.
And he's given a penalty, pointing,
number 6.
I think it was, to Jamie
Getting
Ritchie,
involved there where he doesn't need
throwing
to
the
be.
ball away, I think, knowing that it wasn't their possession.
That'd be a mistake, don't you? You wouldn't have done that deliberately.
No. But you can't do these things now, boys. I say this.
No.
You can't. In the olden days, you could get away with a lot of things, but now I think Cockerell will be sitting on the side, shouting and maybe swearing at the players, because ill disciplines kind of cost them at the moment.
And look at the net result, Rory.
Two receivers now,
Another
lads.
opportunity for Glasgow just outside Edinburgh's 22.
And it's Grant Stewart lining up with a line out. Swinson at the front. Price into the midfield. Here's Nico Matawalu, the flying Fijian, does well. gets beyond the tackle of Hamish Watson. Wilson knocked on by Fagerson coming round the corner, and it's a little bit wasteful. Dave Rennie come into this game, cited his side needing to be more clinical. That man there, Fagerson, not managing to latch on. It wasn't a great pass by Ryan Wilson, but one a man of his quality would have expected to take.
Yeah, it's just frustrating from Glasgow's point of view. What they did off the line-out was to bring Nico Matawalu straight in off one pass. We didn't see that last week. Most of Glasgow's attack went towards the edge, towards the kind of wider players, but that was direct up the middle. Good possession, but then a poor pass from Wilson that Matt Fagerson couldn't take.
Come into this game, I spoke with George Clancy down in the tunnel. He said he was massively excited to take control of it, and I said, anything you're looking at particularly? And he just said, I just need to try and control the players. You know that, you both know that only too well. These derbies can often fire up. A couple of tussles so far, edgy moments.
Well, we said this before in pre-game, that it's a head-to-head throughout the whole team really. This is a Scotland trial. There's big things coming up. You've got the Six Nations around the corner. You've also got the World Cup, they won selected, and everyone wants to wear that blue jersey that's available for Scotland. I'm saying, maybe not everyone, but the ones who are available, and this is the opportunity to show that you are the best.
Crouch. Bind. Falling over the cliff, early engage.
There we go again, George Clancy not being able to settle his scrum, Doddy.
Well, I just sometimes don't quite understand how they give free kicks and penalties away, because that could have been Edinburgh coming back there. You know, I think Glasgow got a free kick against them because they were pushing the scrum. Tactically inside is sometimes very difficult.
I think sometimes these free kicks are a result of some games we get too many reset scrums and the referees feel maybe a pressure to make a statement or go with something early on to avoid the kind of constant reset, but very little in it. Both the free kicks have come for an early engage, but this looks a bit better here.
So it's Pyrgos with the put in. Good strike by McAnally. Matt off the base, looks up and sees Adam Hastings in front of him. Just manages to scrag him and get to ground. Watson to the blind side. And Pyrgos slows things down again, controls, finds his captain. McAnally, good line speed from Glasgow. 3 defenders gobbling the dangerous Edinburgh captain up on that occasion. Pyrgos setting for his first box kick of the day. Pressure coming on from both Wilson and Swinson. Brilliantly taken by Seymour, gets his hands clear to Hogg. Bursting up the middle, Hogg makes 20 metres. Lightning quick ball, here's Hastings. Oh, taken a little bit high by Van der Vaart, advantage being played. It's Price hitting Darcy Ray into the midfield. Again, good quality ball. This time Christine over the top of the ruck, taking the scrum half out. He's going back for the penalty, but good intention and lightning counter-attack from Glasgow.
Well, that's one of the strengths of the Glasgow side, that counter-attack ability. Tommy Seymour does really well in the air. He gets up early, wins it, and then you can see how quickly that kick reception turns into counter-attack with Stuart Hogg reading the play. And Tommy Seymour didn't even look, he just knew that there was a support player there. Once he caught the ball, he broke the line, and he just lifted the ball up to Stuart Hogg, who burst through. They were in behind the Edinburgh defence, they forced the penalty, and there's an interesting decision. This is a break here. Watch Tommy Seymour, he doesn't even look, he knows Stuart Hogg's there. James Johnson in with a tackle. There's a high tackle after this. Van der Vaart is opposite number. That's the penalty. That penalty.
We'll give you time to organise, Captain.
Big intent.
We'll give you time
shown from Glasgow. Van der Vaart, that man there, given for the high shot. You can't get away with anything above shoulder level. And Glasgow within 5 metres. Looking for the 5-pointer. Oh, it's scrappy in the line out. I think it's Johnny Gray who manages to latch on to Grant Stewart. Everybody else was caught cold on that one. Glasgow retained possession. Swinson set up as a trio. Fagerson and Stewart alongside and manages to get the ball away. Brian Wilson on the charge. Nice little shoulder ball from Ali Price. Finds it Johnny Gray. Again, slow ball. Price looks to the blind side, gets the call from Hogg over the top, but it's an intercept, and it's Darcy Graham stepping in there, the Hoyt man picking off the pass of a fellow Hoyt man on the opposite side, Stuart Hogg. And another timely intervention from Edinburgh, who now look to control it and find an exit, an area of play that they were so efficient and effective in last week. We'll remind you, they're playing into a stiff breeze here, but it's Henry Pyrgos who clears to touch.
There's a flag.
There may be a flag, but you have to ask why go for the long pass? It maybe didn't work. Must see in the last game they had all the right tactics there. They had the ball, they had the pressure on.
You've taken him. Penalty where the ball went into touch in 15.
There's a late hit, I think, on Pyrgos, trying to get pressure on that box kick, and I think it was a late hit from Swinson, just following through, hitting his fellow, well, his old teammate Henry Pyrgos. But you're right, Dory, when you're so close to the line, you would have thought Glasgow would be, you know,
I didn't hear you.
I suppose wiser to keep the ball closer, keep those passes shorter. But again, that Edinburgh defence, the width of it, the flat winger in the line, just read that pass and managed to help get out their own line.
Against their DNA a little bit, isn't it? Glasgow, they just come out and they...
It is, but it didn't work in the game before. They've got to get the phases going. They've got strike runners, we know that. We've seen that already in the game. Just keep the ball. Keep the ball and put Edinburgh under pressure. And with silly things like that, the pressure's off.
And we see the outcome here. It's a good touch found, and Edinburgh again go to the tail. Toulis, an absolute talisman in the line out last week, just went about his business quietly but so effective. McInally off the back of the maul. Edinburgh make 6-7 metres from that maul. Schumann on the carry on this occasion, again so effective, turns up again and again. It's Dean. Darcy Graham hits a good line, but tackled and held by opposite man Nico Matawalu. Did well to get his knee down and complete the tackle. Toulis met by Johnny Gray and Ollie Kebble. Hamish Watson, an absolute menace, turning up in the midfield there. Good carry but strong defence from Glasgow. Here's WP Nell. Hit in midfield again. Glasgow looking comfortable in defence. James Johnson manages to find an edge. Tim Swinson does well to get him down. Here's Duhan van der Merwe, first touch for him. He's beaten more defenders than anybody else in the Guinness Pro 14. Oh, great carry from Schumann. Hit hard by Johnny Gray, but managed to fight through the tackle. Edinburgh get front foot ball. Johnson, Kinghorn sees space in behind. Just over, cooks it into touch.
Well, it was a massive collision in the middle of that piece of play, but we're away again, Rory. Glasgow have taken it quickly to Peter Horn.
Pete Horn looks up and sees space in behind, and it's Van der Vault trying to cover across. Tommy Seymour bearing down on him. Finds Kinghorn in his 22. Kinghorn looks for the touchline but finds Ali Price. Good chase by Kinghorn. Hits his Scotland teammate Adam Hastings. The crowd aren't happy with that one, fellas. A no-arms tackle. George Clancy looks to have agreed.
Number 7 never got outside the 10. Number 7.
No, there
offside.
we go. The penalty given against Hamish Watson for not retiring 10 from the kick.
The ball landed offside.
Yeah, not retiring, have to work to get back. And there was actually a space ahead of Ali Price when he caught it. He threw it in field, and I don't know what. There's a collision there, but I don't know if he's trying to get out of his way or realising he can't get his arm round Blair Kinghorn, so stops. But it was definitely a collision. That wasn't what the penalty was for. It was for offside.
Before he can put you
he's certainly up quickly on his good mates as well, Blair Kinghorn and Adam Hastings. No.
So Glasgow again, must be their third or fourth occasion they're inside Edinburgh's 22. Yet to get a score on the board. Look to Ryan Wilson. Right at the top of the jump, good line out from Grant Stewart, and it's set the foundation. He's now on the ball at the back of the maul. McInally's come through the middle. It's been held in there by Gibbons. George Clancy talking to Ali Price. Switch to the blind side. Here's Hastings. Just about gets on the outside of Schumann, but he does really well to catch the fly half. Pete Horn takes up the scrum half rows. Callum Gibbons on the carry. Glasgow again within 10 metres of Edinburgh's line, but the stubborn Edinburgh defence once again holding them out for now. It's Gibbons again. Another carry, Johnny Gray on that occasion. Darcy Ray sets close. Patience from Glasgow, off slow ball. Another good carry, but it's all about inches for Glasgow. They've got the advantage here. Ryan Wilson, determined carry. 15 metres into the touchline, 7 metres from Edinburgh's line. Still advantage being played. Here's Johnny Gray. Strong carry, tackled by Nell, but here's Price, quick ball. Has a little scurry himself. Well done Gilchrist to bring him down. Glasgow coming 9 phases down now, much more patient in the build-up and still playing penalty advantage. It's Matawalu in at the base on this occasion. Price takes over. Kebble's at first receiver. 125 kilos of South African meat, but once again Glasgow turn up and no advantage coming. George Clancy, penalty for not rolling away under the posts.
Yeah, it was Human and WP&L, I think, about 8 or 9 phases ago. Good defence, really getting up, hitting hard, but not rolling away. Here they're both involved in the tackle. They've got to make an effort, a quicker effort to roll away. Matt Ferguson highlights that to George Clancy, but Donny, we saw I suppose what we were talking about earlier on. They've learned their lesson from going wide too early, and they're just going direct towards the line.
Definitely it's phase rugby. This is derby rugby. This is where all games before go out the window, must say, and with that you've got to get pressure. You've got to be patient. They're going to come away with any luck at 3 points here. Could have been more, but with that, it's good to come away with points. They've been down this end before, and come away with nothing is quite frustrating. So it gives the team a bit of confidence.
Thank you.
And there we have it. We're nearing 20 minutes played at Scotstoun Stadium in this 1872 Cup Derby. It's been a real arm wrestle so far, but Adam Hastings evening things up there. 3 points all, and it's a really interesting encounter.
Well, you would say it's quite even in many ways, obviously, as the scoreline suggests, but that last phase of play was better from Glasgow's point of view, but the defence of Edinburgh was also up to it, and a respect towards that defence as Glasgow that time opted to kick the penalty rather than go to the touchline.
And it's a flat kick-off there, wobbling in the wind, and Edinburgh will be happy with the outcome. Ali Price putting it onto his left foot and finding an outcome.
Here we go, here's the centre now.
Topsy-turvy opening quarter.
We'll see a drive here, Doddy, do you think? Strength of Edinburgh's line-out.
Never predict something, Mossy. Come on, you should know that. You've been in the game long enough. But what it is, there's got to be stock ball, because at the moment the wind's there, you can see the flag's getting up a little bit more. So throwing to the tail is going to be a risk. So they've got to be a bit clever. They've got to try and get back into this game. I wouldn't like to say, I was going to say front or middle. Spot on, you see?
Front, middle or back?
Yeah, exactly. But they've won the ball, and that's the main thing.
They have.
Never predict, Doddy. Never.
Glasgow have been able to snaffle it. And another little scuffle on the deck. Tim Swinson right in amongst it again. You can hear Ryan Wilson in the background there. There he is, slapping his forward pack on the head.
Quite vigorously there after the ball collapsed. Okay, number 6 black. Okay. Captain out here.
He's made a word, I think, with
So
Ryan Wilson now.
after the decision's been awarded, your number 6 has come in and tapped an opponent on top of the head. I told you about this before the match. Didn't want to see any of it. Yes. No. Stop. No. Relax. No. This is what happened, and you're going to be penalised for it now. Discipline on your players. That's it. Get the message out. This is your problem now. Sort it.
Very clear there from George Clancy. And you see, I actually spoke about it. There's Ryan Wilson.
Pretty clear.
That is not Swino's head.
On Grant Gilchrist Red's head cap that he had mistaken
Thanks, Joe. Good call.
for Swinson's pink red head cap, or so he claimed. But Very clear from George Clancy. He did say he'd have to control the players, and Stuart Gaffigan, on the assistant referee on the far side, identified that very, very quickly.
But boys, there's a wee bit sledging in rugby, I think. It's just a wee bit, they're against each other and they're just having a wee tap on the head to say, you might have caught the ball, but I've actually won it. I don't really see there was anything wrong there. Maybe a wee bit hard on the hit, but he wasn't punching him or anything.
As Rory says, I think he's just trying to nip it in the bud, isn't he? He's just trying to stop it before it boils over, but you can argue both sides of that one.
Certainly can. You'd expect nothing less from a derby day. Scottish teammates playing against each other in so many positions. But Edinburgh, off the back of that ill-discipline, have another penalty. Again, that one coming in from the side, and that's the 6th penalty conceded by Glasgow. And we're only 22 minutes in. Normally you set the target below 10.
There's a different tactic now, boys. They're kicking to the corner instead of for the points, I think, because maybe the wind has got up.
Uses a penalty here. I think it's too quick a drive. They'll have to let Grant Gilchrist touch the ground before the drive comes in. It's a matter of a millisecond, really, isn't it? And as you say, Donny, Blair Kinghorn's kick to touch, 5 metres out, and this is where I think we'll see the catch and drive from Edinburgh, their effective line out.
Never predict, must he?
This time Glasgow don't compete. And it's Toulis. WP Nell bursts away, manages to get beyond the tackle of Grant Stewart, and within 5 metres of the line. This is where Edinburgh are so patient. They just squeeze opposition. Here's the man, Jamie Ritchie, returning this week after a couple of weeks out with injury. Schumann again gets within 4 metres. McAnally's at the base. It's WP Nell. WP Nell gets within inches of the line. Darcy Ray manages to get out of the tackle there, but Stuart McAnally's on the ball. He's within a metre. Patience and power from Edinburgh. Big Bill Mata will take it up on this occasion.
Offside 7.
Again, advantage being played. Callum Gibbons being penalised from offside, but it's advantage still being played. Nell again goes within a metre. Watson measures things up. It's a good defence there by Swinson and Fagerson. Purgos looks up and he's ready to take the advantage. There's Johnson over the top to Van der Merwe. One-on-one with Stuart Hogg. Stuart Hogg does really well to get him into the touch, but it was advantage. We'll come back for the penalty.
Some more of the same, some nonsense on the touchline. Stuart Hogg did really well there. As you say, Rory, that's a difficult tackle to make on such a big, powerful winger. But Glasgow already offside. Interestingly, it looks as if they're putting 2 men into each tackle. Every pick and go that Edinburgh did there, Glasgow tackled the ball carrier and the next person out to try and stop that support play.
You do that must be one time you kind of think just have a pass further out. Have 2 passes to get away around that very strong defence around the ruck and maul.
That looks like a simple tackle, but against such a powerful, big, strong, good footwork winger with a bit of space to cover. Stuart Hogg's lateral, really, he has to be because he's got space to cover. It's a very good tackle to make against a dangerous player.
He's a tremendous finisher, is Duhan van der Merwe. On that occasion, Stuart Hogg's defence, using the touchline as an extra defender, did well. But Jaco van der Walt lines up his 2nd penalty of the afternoon. Faultless last week, 5 from 5. And he's 2 from 2 this afternoon. And once again, Edinburgh playing into that breeze, managed to sneak themselves 3 points ahead. Glasgow 3, Edinburgh 6. Both sides being able to get really close to the opposition line. It's stubborn defences.
And it's an ill-discipline that allows opportunity there. Glasgow will be kicking themselves for 1 or 2 silly penalties, but Edinburgh, as we watch that kick-off, drift really close to the touchline, just perfect. I thought it was going to carry their way out, but that's a good result for Glasgow.
And that's a different way of playing this year, whereby you can't put a foot over the touchline. The ball's got to break the line. I think it would have done actually if Christine had left it, but as it is, you just see his big toe catching the whitewash on that touchline. Tommy Seymour with a really good chase, but that is an inch perfect kick by Stuart Hogg.
Yeah, you can't leave that, especially with the shout behind you.
Grant Stewart misses his man in the middle, Johnny Gray, on that occasion, and Edinburgh once again pick up on wasteful Glasgow possession. Edinburgh look to go. There's Dean Johnson. Darcy Graham eyes up his opposite man, Nico Matawalu, and makes another couple of metres. Big Bill Mata, straight and hard, tackled again by Johnny Gray. Into the midfield, McInally, what's in it? There's a chance here. Van der Merwe, he's stretching away. It's another one-on-one with Hogg. Oh, beats him on the inside shoulder, but looks to have lost the ball forward. Again, Van der Merwe finds a bit of space. That occasion couldn't finish it.
We talked about set piece out of doors. It was the Glasgow line out down at the other end of the field. They overthrew it, and what an exciting match. This is what happens. Great end-to-end rugby.
Yeah, we saw Richard Cockrell before the game getting frustrated about being pigeonholed as his team. They play ugly, they do this. Maybe don't do that, but that is a wonderful counter-attack from that turned over line out. Went down the right-hand side, Darcy Graham made a bit of yards, shifted the ball from right to left into that man hand, Duhan van der Merwe's hands. And Stuart Hogg, although he got beaten on the inside, just did enough to dislodge the ball and it was knocked forward.
Pete Horn played his 150th for Glasgow last week, and it was his secondary effort. Having been beaten on the outside by Van der Merwe, he didn't give up the chase, did really well to get back and help Stuart Hogg, who managed to slow the big South African. Duhan van der Merwe, he's a joy to watch when he gets open prairie, isn't he?
I think he might be a wee bit disappointed there as well, Rory. There's a wee bit space for him. I think it's probably too close to the touchline to try and go on the outside. He could maybe have dropped it onto the toe and dribbled it through, but I think,
get those shoulders,
I don't know,
above the
I
hips.
expected him to,
Shoulders
sounds really
above hips.
harsh critic, but I expected him to do a wee bit more than that, certainly retain possession.
Do you remember when Frank Hadden used to fine you £1 if you got tackled into touch? Yeah, it takes a bit
Quite
of
right
tackling.
too, because it annoyed us forwards and you boys just ran it in touch and gave the ball away.
Duhan van der Merwe getting away
Just a
from the
pound.
touchline, but couldn't keep a hold of it on that occasion.
Well, what was quite interesting there, you'll see in the footage there, Ali Price speaking to the ref. He did it on the pre-scrummage to say, look, they're taking it down. He did it there again. It's resulted in a penalty.
Tim Swinson right in amongst it this afternoon, isn't he? He and Ryan Wilson, 2 of the 6 changes this week. They bring a lot of physicality, a lot of niggle, which is exactly what you'd expect in this derby.
Yeah, both big, tough guys. You see his second row partner, Johnny Gray, we just saw, and you know, earlier on the shot, just holding his shoulder a little bit. He's made a few big tackles as well so far this afternoon, Johnny Gray. I hope for his sake he's okay, but Glasgow get the chance to remedy the line-out woe from the time before.
It's been a physical first 29 minutes here at Scotstoun. Edinburgh just have the upper hand at the moment, have done well against the breeze. It's Johnny Gray in the middle of the line out. Here's Matt Fagerson, the youngster, just 20 years old. Already 38 appearances. Here's Hogg.
Advantage.
Just lost it in contact there. And again, a little bit of frustration bubbling over.
Just
You'll
failed
see
to get
from
away.
the move here though, that all the forwards are trying to get across and clear the gap, but the Edinburgh boys don't follow them, so it leaves it quite crowded there.
It's good work by Grant Gilchrist, isn't it? So often, you know, sometimes forwards can switch off, or backs as well, I suppose, Dory. But when you're in that inside channel, the ball moves out your channel, you don't keep pushing, but Grant Gilchrist worked really hard there to cover inside and just stopped Stuart Hogg. I think Stuart Hogg looked to get the ball away in the tackle, but there's enough momentum and force from Gilchrist to force a turnover.
But in a way, once as well as a forward, there's nothing worse than you fast backs running at them. So Gilchrist did very well, because now strong Stuart Hogg can run
and your feet underneath
to get hold of them.
But you have to have that stability before the ball comes in. Is that clear? That's fine. All right? No. I need to see a change in behaviour here from both of you. Let's go.
See, it's quite interesting. The referees are telling seasoned campaigners how to prop and where to keep the legs. Anyway, quite cynical sometimes how this area's referees.
See that shoulder good?
The funny business in the front row. George Clancy, it's one of the referees' directives around scrum time. Make it very clear what you want from the players and then penalise if they don't do it. So he's trying to do that there with Ollie Keble and WP now. Edinburgh again, solid scrum, held at the back by Mata.
Schumann's doing really well on this loose head side for Edinburgh.
Yeah.
Stop! Where are you going? Where are you going? Where are you going?
Important that George Clancy gets a control of this game.
Well, it's there's no need, is there? I mean, come on, nothing's going to happen in there. It's only they're only kind of ruffle each other up. Let's get your focus on the game, get your discipline, get it sorted, and get on with the match.
We'll listen to hear what
Captain.
George Clancy says. He's going to pull both captains across.
Hand around the discipline of your players. I don't want to see any more of this. All right?
Hand around the neck.
Yeah. Captain, there's a lot of penalties now. Discipline is an issue for your team.
Why not?
I'll give you the opportunity to have a word here.
Penalty over there for not pushing, for doing something first. I mean, the first thing they do is push-ups.
No, it's not happening there. No, back you go.
See, I would have gone against that, to be fair. Having a look to see Glasgow looked like they had the power on in that scrum. They turned Edinburgh. Edinburgh popped up, but again, it's a front row law that I don't know much about. They're a law into their own. So here we go, you see. Good, strong, straight. Glasgow now have got the push on there and on the front foot.
Well, this is a stepping round, isn't it? Stepping round and then coming in from the cable on the far side.
It's 8th penalty conceded by Glasgow. And again, Edinburgh look to set up camp in Glasgow's half.
Yeah, don't crowd your own mark.
Stuart McAnally, Edinburgh's captain, with the throw-in. They've gone 5+1 in the line out. Hamish Watson at scrum half, and it's Ritchie right at the top of the jump. A little bit loose out the back of the maul, but McAnally does well to tidy up. Gilchrist round the corner. He's met by a couple of willing Glasgow defenders. Nell again, he's turned up really well from that tight head prop. Both Edinburgh props love to carry the ball. Here's Darcy Graham, gets his hands free. Here's Hamish Watson on the shoulder. Scavenging as a 7, gets his hands on the ball and wrestles his way into Glasgow's 22. Schumann on the carry, met with a big hit by Tim Swinson. Fagerson competing at the base, but Purgos gets his hands on it. Van der Vaart looks up, comes back into heavy traffic. Met by Hogg and Fagerson. Gibbons leading the line for Glasgow, and Edinburgh look to retain possession. Here's Toulis. Purgos looks to the backs this time. Dean Kinghorn steps off his right. Again works his way a metre inside Glasgow's 22, and Edinburgh have possession again, but the line speed of Glasgow halting Edinburgh again. 9 phases into the midfield. Toulis gets past Fagerson into Hogg. Fagerson gets him at the second opportunity, but Edinburgh are within 12 metres. It's Johnson who loses it under the pressure of Pete Horn. Glasgow can't retain possession. They have managed to retain possession, and they look to go coast to coast.
Yeah, he's illegal. No advantage for a knock-on.
No advantage for a knock-on. Edinburgh on that occasion couldn't look after possession. Good Glasgow defence though.
Good Glasgow defence, good solid contacts in the tackle. Not only that, but then the wrap, the finishing off the tackle. That's the end of it, where the ball to Johnson was delayed and he couldn't handle it under the pressure, or keep a hold of it under the pressure of Peter Horn, and then Glasgow tried to shift the ball to get away. There's a turnover there as well.
Well, see, Donny, with this wind, you'd have to be saying there's a couple of points in this win with regards to territory. Probably suits Edinburgh more than Glasgow with their kicking game.
Yeah, there's just so little in the game, as the score suggests. There's just so little. This is Edinburgh getting a bit of joy being direct.
Simple as.
There's Ben Toulis getting through Fagerson's challenge. The initial contact from Fagerson was fine, but then the wrap of the arms to stop Big Ben Toulis wasn't up to it, but he did get back. And
sometimes you see a big issue in this now, Lamossi, because people are going for the shoulder hit to try and stop the pass, or do you get the legs to try and stop them running? I think Fagerson there was caught in the middle. He didn't know what to do, but allowed good strong running, which is what we like to see.
Now, we've spoken a lot about not being able to predict things. Let's see what happens at this scrum. Glasgow's put in on this occasion, and Ali Price is shouting at his charges to go. The arms out for advantage, and this time you see the scream from Ali Price. The big bus in front of him. There he is, pat on the back for Darcy Ray, clip of the head for Johnny Gray, and Glasgow win a crucial penalty.
That's a big lift for Glasgow in their pack, isn't it? They've been up against it really, certainly last weekend, and some of the early scrums here they've been penalised. But that is a big scrum for Glasgow, Donny, and when it had to be in their own 22 as well.
It is, but we talked about the scrum and the penalty before. What's the difference between this one and the one before? You see, Glasgow got their shunt up on the right hand side, which is good because it opens the way for the number 9 to kick it away. To me, they're dominating the scrum at the moment. They've certainly got the fight.
It's a very, very good contest. George Clancy's being kept guessing, we're being kept guessing. It seems to be whatever team has the put in has the control at the moment. Certainly that's the way that it's being refereed. There's Ryan Wilson. Pete Horn into the midfield. Hastings out the back on the wraparound. Good line by Tommy Seymour, by Alex Dunbar, but he's tackled well by Chris Dean. Round the corner into the 15 metres goes the returning Tim Swinson. Gibbons, Hastings with a little bit of space in front of him. Poor pass to Grant Stewart, and it falls to Jamie Ritchie, and it's turnover ball for Edinburgh. Advantage over called by George Clancy. Glasgow just can't find any rhythm at the moment. Wasteful in possession. Good tackle there in the midfield. That time Darcy Ray and Grant Stewart combining. 3 minutes to go in this first half, and Edinburgh look to go for inside their own half. Chris Dean, outside break. Oh, he had the better Dunbar before losing his footing. Van der Merwe.
Stripped up, no tackle's complete, play on.
Tackle complete and dislodged by Dunbar. Glasgow have turnover ball, something they thrive on so much. But Edinburgh have done well. Here's Matawalu. Not seen too much of him on the ball, and he's met by his fellow Fijian Bill Mata, who goes in for seconds, much like I'm sure he did at Christmas time. James Johnson. Hastings, enough's enough of ball in hand. Looks to use the wind at his back. But Kinghorn's well positioned to gather, and he goes back downtown and manages to put it onto the running track here at Scotstoun.
Well, Glasgow weren't far away there when Adam Hastings threw that pass. He just delayed his decision a little bit, but they're actually created a really good opportunity. You could argue they should be kicking more when they're in that middle third with the wind behind, but they weren't too far away. But then Edinburgh again, just that defence has been so good over the last 2 weeks, just forcing the error.
And it's two teams who know each other so well. Individuals know each other. The tussles across the field, it's contrasting styles in many ways. It's been a really interesting first half. Just both defences on top, and another, that's maybe a microcosm that sums up the first 40 minutes. A little bit scrappy around the set piece, and neither side being able to open up the opponent.
I think you're right there, Rory. No one's really got a grip of this game yet. Just little mistakes like that, just allowing the opposite team into it. Just little indiscipline. Shouldn't really happen at this level. He was in there uncontested, that should have been one. Just little things throughout the game, but I'm sure that also that the senior players will have a look at the clock. 1 minute to go, they don't want anything to happen at this stage to go in. As the score is, I think they'll be quite happy.
Set.
I'm sure they'd love to add to it, but at the moment, more front row problems for George Clancy to deal with.
Shoulders above your hips.
So I think what he needs to say to the boys, right, get this ball in and get it away, because scrum time on this game has been quite considerable. And it's maybe spoiling the spectacle a little bit, but I'm sure the front row won't say that.
Crouch.
Well, it's usually such an effective platform for Edinburgh, but it's certainly more closely contested than it was last week, in my opinion.
So it's Pyrgos with putting the ball's gone down at the front, but it's at Mata's feet. So Pyrgos will use it. He hits Dean in the midfield. Van der Vault, Duhan van der Merwe, well read. Adam Hastings managing to drift off and get to him. Pete Horn has a nibble on the ground. But Edinburgh, there's Henry Pyrgos, looks up, sees Bill Mata, the clock's gone red. Edinburgh still in possession.
No. Step.
Controls from the base. Henry Pyrgos puts the ball into the stand here at Scotstoun, and it is a typical derby in Scotland, full of physicality, full of head-to-head battles. So far it's Edinburgh who have managed to get the upper hand with 2 penalties to 1, and that's Scotstoun. Half-time, Glasgow 3, Edinburgh 6.
You know the feeling with some savings accounts? You get all settled and the interest rate drops. So you look around for a better deal, but you just can't get comfortable. But with Scottish Building Society, we don't offer teaser rates. Your money will keep on earning year after year. So go on, make yourself comfy.
Yes, hello and welcome back to Scotstoun Stadium. This intriguing tussle in the Scottish Derby, the 1872 Cup up for grabs, and Edinburgh, the first team out, can reclaim it this evening. It's been a tale of 2 defences so far in the first half, but Edinburgh playing into the wind in that first half just have the edge. 6 points to 3 at half-time. Any wind that we've spoken about seems to have died down. It's a very still night now. There is a change for Edinburgh. Juan Pablo Cecino, that man in picture there, is now onto the field. And for Glasgow, there are also a couple of changes. Duhan van der Merwe in the number 23 shirt has come on for Stuart Hogg. DTH van der Merwe, the Canadian internationalist, Glasgow's record all-time try scorer. He's only 1 try away from equaling Tim Fisser in the Pro 14 and second, and that man there is also on Kevin Bryce, on for Grant Stewart at hooker. He's had 5 appearances this season, all as replacement. He's out for his 6th outing.
Okay, kicker.
And it's going to be Blair Kinghorn to get this second half underway. Intriguing first half, but a lot yet to develop within this, the second chapter of a trilogy of 1872 Cup matches this season. Both these sides will be back here in April for the final game of the season, but it's Glasgow. Adam Hastings looking to the skies from inside his own 22, Duhan van der Merwe chasing that down, but the ball is ricocheted into touch. And alongside me in the commentary box, Edinburgh Rugby's record point scorer, Chris Patterson MB, and Doddy Weir OBE. Fellas, what are we going to expect from the next 39 minutes of this match?
Well, there's a couple of changes. You see, big blow for Glasgow losing Stuart Hogg. He was picked up a bump, I think, towards the end of the first half, but DTH Van der Merwe will bring his craft and his try-scoring ability, and Sassino in the midfield for Christine for Edinburgh will bring international experience as well. But it looks like Glasgow have started the second half with a bit more tempo here.
Glasgow in possession. They were a little bit wasteful at times. There's Bryce on the carry, brother of Glenn Bryce, who's part of the 7 squad this season. Swinson into the midfield. He was right in amongst the niggle in that first 40. Tommy Seymour getting his hands on the ball early. It's Keble on the carry, gets beyond Toulis, albeit it gets him to ground. Hastings out the back this time to Horn. 151st appearance tonight. There's the two Van der Merwe's clash on that far side. It's DTH who manages to get it clear to Matt Fagerson.
Leave it wide.
George Clancy calling to the Edinburgh man to leave it on the ground.
Rock now. Yeah, okay.
Ali Price at the base. Glasgow with slow ball, but looking to go wide. Goes backwards off Hastings to Horn. Flat ball to Seymour. He steps into the midfield. Does well. But then loses the ball. Managed to get beyond Darcy Graham initially. Just lost it in the collision.
Well, it's the first time that Glasgow managed to get the ball to the edge, and Edinburgh's defence looked pretty narrow. That's a worrying sight for Peter Horn and for Glasgow. He was hit late just as he passed the ball. I think it was Sassino who came in with a tackle, but Glasgow started that half with a bit more vigour, a bit more zip. Quick ball allows him to play in the edge, and I think we'll see here, Doddy, just that tackle, just his knee get caught underneath him as he gets the ball away.
It looks like it. This is frustration coming in. You see, sometimes coaches talk and go as far as you can, but to me it's always good to just go maybe a yard less but get the ball back. And these frustrations happened in the first half, boys. We just need the team who's going to do well is the one who's going to take control and not do these little silly mistakes, because these are professional players. They shouldn't be losing the ball like that so easily going forward.
I think it's the way Glasgow play as well, isn't it? It's a high risk game that is often high reward, but Dave Rennie will be on communications with his medical staff here to get the word on Peter Horn. His knee just looked as if he got caught underneath him, and they've already made the substitution with Van der Merwe coming on for Stuart Hogg. Sam Johnson would be the man to replace Peter Horn, who hasn't played for most of the season actually. And then there's Stuart Hogg in behind Rob Harley, who's I think just off the kind of out of shot towards the end of the first half. I saw him rubbing his leg and his 22, but Alex Dunbar as well. Both centres for Glasgow are getting treatment at the moment. This is it's worrying for Glasgow. I'm sure they'll give them all the time they need, but neither are moving particularly well. Alex Dunbar's just returned from, well, he had a spell out injured, and he's had a spell, out the side, so it's disappointing for him. And Sam Johnson is coming on to replace him, number 22.
Yeah, Dunbar, his 10th season at the Warriors, and he's going to give way just over 2 minutes into this second half. And you see the frustration, the wipe of the face, but for Sam Johnson, it's a return to the Glasgow Warriors jersey for the first time since he got injured in that dramatic loss to Munster at the end of October. Only his 3rd appearance this season, so he'll be very keen to get a run of games. Was named in Gregor Townsend's Scotland squad.
It's happened to Watford now. He's just straight down. His head and shoulders are below his hips. That's the warning. It has to stop. Here's your man.
It's Glasgow's 9th penalty, but you could see that Ollie Keble's feet were too far back. His weight, they couldn't keep his feet underneath him to retain the weight, and it was a quick blow in the whistle. It wasn't a kind of half-hearted blow for a free kick. It was a clear penalty in George Clancy's point of view.
Mossy, when did you start in the front row, man?
It's easier watching.
It's like me telling you how you take an up and under and all that, full back.
You could do everything, Doddy. You could take up and under.
Again, see what happens in the front row when there's a bit of pressure going on, somebody's not. Your shoulders dip below your hips. And again, I just don't quite understand the penalties in the scrum time.
So to confirm, Glasgow already 3 replacements used in this game. Kevin Bryce off the bench. Stuart Hogg has had to give way for DTH van der Merwe with injury, and Alex Dunbar has given way through injury as well. Sam Johnson coming on. By that time the pack getting the upper hand, halting that Edinburgh Maul and winning their side of scrum.
Sorry for trying to interrupt there, Rory, but that was a very clever play by Tim Swinson. You'll be able to see, if we can see this again, see the red cap gets right over around and gets a hold of that ball. Clever play, strong play.
The dark arts, that one, that's questionable whether it's allowed.
Yeah, he's first in.
Yeah, okay,
do whatever he
I'll wait
wants.
for you.
The ruck maul wasn't formed. I'm saying that with confidence, I don't really know.
I did really well. Then you're allowed to be there as long as you don't then change your position if you're in right away. And he managed to get his arm, I think, locked on the ball. And his upper body strength won the turnover.
But we can say that that's because Edinburgh are not getting together. They're not having a platform. They're not protecting their jumper there. They're allowing that to happen. And it's these little things we need to try and stop in this game for the team to get dominant.
There's Sam Johnson, Glasgow's joint player of the season last year. He'll be so keen to get a run of games. He's a class operator, as I said in commentary a minute ago. Was named in Gregor Townsend's autumn international squad and was injured that week, so huge frustration for him. Ex-Queensland Reds player.
The ball comes in, work harder on that.
Really quality operator and just adding to the depth in this Glasgow's midfield.
Yeah, he's a really good player. Sam Johnson runs really good attacking lines. He's a good distributor and a very good defender. So he's exactly what you want in that midfield area. But we're focusing on the scrum again. This one's already been reset by George Clancy.
Crouch.
There we go, have a good view. See, you should be saying, get the ball in. Oh, get the game going. Sorry.
The crowd are getting frustrated as well around this area of the game.
So is Doddy.
We want to see a game of rugby because we know that both these teams can play. Yeah, this is a very important part of set piece to start the game. But get the ball in, tell the scrum halves, get out and let's play rugby, as they say.
Well, the last penalty was against Ollie Kebble for his feet being too far back. If we see from the George Clancy's point of view from this near side, the kind of left foot there of Ollie Kebble, that's under his hips. It's easier for him to retain away. It looks quite far back there again, unless he charges it forward.
Oh, the Edinburgh power coming on there, and George Clancy goes to the pocket. He's had enough. And he needs to see the picture change.
Back you go. One. Repeat infringement in the scrum.
Very loud and clear. Repeat infringement in the scrum, which is interesting given that it's been so topsy-turvy. But Chris, you said exactly that. You saw the left foot too far away from him.
Well, different there, I think. On this one here, you could see the shoulder coming in because he was under some intense pressure from Glasgow. And I think that's what allowed the collapsing off the scrum there.
And this is a big 10 minutes. Big 10 minutes under this sin binning.
There's a lot of power coming through, wasn't it, from Edinburgh, from the 8 there. WP Nels fame for the scrum on that tight head side, and you look to get the better of Ollie Kebble. And then as a result, the penalty's been thumped into touch, and it's another attacking opportunity for Edinburgh's pack.
Coming into this game, Kebble had conceded more penalties than any other player in the Guinness Pro 14. 16 this season so far. Glasgow looked to have done well to just drop the Edinburgh line out. Ali Price calling to George Clancy that they have the ball, and they do. And again, the Glasgow line-out maul defence keeping them away at the moment. Edinburgh keeping them at bay.
You'll see that Tim Swimson did exactly the same, got in there, but here, very fortunate, George Clancy was somewhere else, collapsing it there and was on the wrong side of the ball, but got away with it. You've got to play the referee.
The difficulty there is it a tackle or is it a maul? I don't think it called maul. Tim Swimson got away with it there. That's the penalty, the power coming on from Edinburgh, and the penalty that resulted in Ollie Kebble seeing the yellow card.
Ali Price has just absolutely done George Clancy there. He was calling that the ball was on the Glasgow side. The ball was on the Edinburgh side, but underneath the body. I think it was actually there to be played, but Ali Price so animated in front of George Clancy that he's managed to get his side a scrum. Really important exit area. But once again, we've got to consider Glasgow without Ollie Kebble on that loose head side. Jamie Batty is coming on to replace him. 16 stars last season. It's Matt Fagerson who gives way for Jamie Batty.
Keep that steady before it comes in.
So it's a 7-man scrum for Glasgow.
Crouch.
And they're going without a blindside flanker, which is really interesting. Allows Henry Pyrgos to get round the corner if he wants. Have a nibble at Ryan Wilson, but they'll look for... Oh, there's a hand looking like the Edinburgh power comes on again, and Big Bill Mata off the base, fights beyond 2 tacklers, gets within a foot of the line. Pyrgos looks up. There's McAnally, the captain, wriggles, powers his way through and dives over. And Edinburgh make the extra man count and stretch their lead. It's the first try of the afternoon, and it goes to that man, Stuart McAnally, Edinburgh's leader.
Well, it's another turnover from set piece, isn't it? A massive scrum coming through from Edinburgh. Glasgow's putting Ali Price's all they can to try and, effect to put him towards his own side, but it's 8 versus 7, and then Bill Bata launches off the back of it, and then quickly this wide pass here from Henry Pyrgos doesn't hit the first man, it hits the second man, which is Stuart McAnally. He does really well to wriggle through and score the first try of the afternoon.
He started the move, McAnally, with the scrum and finished it as well. But you were right what you were saying. Technically, they should have a blindside flanker on channel 1, down the ball, in and out when you've got a ball missing, and clear your lines.
So Van der Vault, 2 from 2 so far this afternoon. It's a relatively easy one for him, and he doesn't miss. And Edinburgh, 10 minutes into this second half and 1 man to the good, have managed to get out the blocks, get the first try of the afternoon, and they stretch their lead.
And that was a killer pass here from Henry Pyrgos. Once you were in behind, it didn't hit the first man. I think it was maybe Schumann. It went across Schumann, as Donny was saying early on in the first half. Try and make that pass a little bit wider. It was, and it was Stuart McAnally who got the ball, got his footwork going, and managed to twist through a couple of tackles and score.
But crucially, this is down to possibly a yellow card as well, because they do say a yellow card, it can cost you maybe 7 points. We've seen that already.
Interesting that Glasgow wouldn't put 8 men in that scrum, use a backup, maybe a DTH Van der Merwe, one of the bigger guys, but they didn't do so, and they were punished for it. There's another change for Glasgow. Darcy Ray gives way, and Siwa Halanukanuka, the big Tongan, comes on. Edinburgh stick to their structures. Good chase again, Darcy Graham. He's gone about his work well this afternoon without getting much possession. There's the man, Halanukanuka. Johnny Gray, Tommy Seymour, getting his 3rd touch of this second half. Ryan Wilson on the carry into try scorer Stuart McAnally. Schumann's over the top of it, won his side a couple of penalties, but that time gets his hands off it. Swinson gets the offload away, but finds Van der Vault.
22 wide, offside.
Clancy onto the air, giving a penalty for offside in the midfield.
Yeah, Scotsman's Cloud called that one. I think it was just offside. Ali Price kind of dummied to throw the pass and then threw it on the second attempt. And that Mancini just jumped the gun. He went ahead of the defensive line, but that defensive line from Edinburgh is so strong. Glasgow can't really get enough go forward to get momentum, to get their tempo and their speed into the game. And when they're up against, the kind of extra man in the pack as well, it's a difficult time to manage. This is it here. You just see Sashino at the top of your screen going too early, quite rightly a penalty against the centre. And Glasgow tried to force that pass. It was intercepted, but the offence had already been committed.
Glasgow averaging more than 4 tries per game in the Guinness Pro 14 so far this season. They've had to live with only scoring 1 try in over 1.5 games now against Edinburgh, and that stubborn Edinburgh defence under the watchful eye of coach Callum McRae has held firm so far this afternoon, and it's facing 14 men for the next 6 or so minutes. Full of structure, the defence. willingness, physicality to get up off the line, but Glasgow look to build their own phases now in Edinburgh's 22. The ball comes loose, Price finds Swinson. Pressure from McInally and Nell does well to place the ball out there. Round the corner comes Jamie Batty, and it's quicker ball. Ali Price has a little scuttle. Here's Halanuka. Sounds like a character from The Lion King. Gets within 4 metres. Hastings gets within 2. Gilchrist there over the top of the ball. Price looks up again. Patience from Glasgow, 8 phases in. Price again, he's got Halanuka there. The tongue in. Carries again, Glasgow within 4 metres of Edinburgh's line. But Glasgow's defence again. Jamie Ritchie with a chop tackle. Schumann's over the top of the ball. It's slow ball again.
Arms up.
Again, it's 15-man Edinburgh defensive wall. It took genius from the Horn brothers to break it down last week. Can they do so here? 14 men. It's Cicino, penalised moments ago for being offside, but quick off the line this time. Onside. On the ground again. Hamish Watson. Would you expect anything else from that man? Wins his side the penalty.
Step back.
Reaction from the Glasgow players, but mainly to the joy of Edinburgh.
Well, Glasgow were building momentum there in 2 or 3 phases just before that. They were much quicker, they had a bit of tempo, got in behind, but then Edinburgh just really got organised quickly, kept the numbers on their feet, came up, made the tackles, and then Hamish Watson wins that penalty by getting over the ball.
He did that very well, but you can see the body position, talking about technique in the game. Body position, if you go in with the ball hanging up the weight, it allows Hamish Watson to get in. If he was a yard less, got it back, arm's length, he wouldn't be near there. Just little things like that are making a difference in today's match.
Skip.
And guys, this is a try again. That extra width in the pass, Rory, just allows Stuart McInally to get a bit of momentum, run at the outside shoulder of the defence and get there. He's getting a bit of treatment here. He's been so impressive for so long, Stuart McInally, over the last probably 18 months, 2 years. He's hardly put a foot wrong. One of the top hookers in the world.
Absolutely. And within this tussle, let's not forget Glasgow with such a good record, but Edinburgh, the last team to beat them here in the regular season. Scarlets beat them here in the semi-final last season, but in the regular season, we've got to go back to May 2017 for the last time that Glasgow were beaten in the regular season here. And we say that with Edinburgh having had such a wretched away record in the Pro 14 this season, yet to win away. They got the monkey off the back in the season as a whole, beating Newcastle away in the Heineken Champions Cup a couple of weeks ago.
I was there, Rory, and they played very well. Very impressive performance. I think that's given them a bit of confidence into the way they're playing. They've got all the players back as well from Scotland duty. Cockrell's got things going. And you see with Stuart and McInally, I think he's helped him quite a lot. Cockrell on the way he's developing his play as well.
Absolutely.
Certainly an outstanding player, and he's doing his bit today.
The hard edge that Richard Cockrell has brought. Physicality. More changes for Glasgow. Tim Swinson's going to give way, and Rob Harley, Glasgow's most appearances. The red-haired man there, he comes on for his remarkable 16th 1872 Cup appearance, just 2 short of Ross Ford's record. And there's a live wire coming off the bench. George Horn coming on for Ali Price. He'll bring energy. He's going to need better stock ball than he's had so far this afternoon to open up Edinburgh's defence. Toulis again, winning the ball in the middle of the line out. Edinburgh's pack, one player the good, just marching Glasgow down the field, 10 metres in the maul. Pyrgos goes to the skies. It's a good box kick, but Duhan van der Merwe collides with DTH van der Merwe, who gets the ball away. Here's Nico Matawalu. Gets the offload away, but to nobody. Van der Vault gets his foot to it. Finds his opposite man, Hastings. Oh, the chip and go.
Advantage.
Oh, he's knocked it on. It was almost genius. But it's another error from Glasgow.
It's quite difficult to talk about this game sometimes, isn't it? Because we think it's going to break through, we think it's going to happen. But just the little pass of just trying too hard at the moment, Marcelo.
Just an injury here.
Well, Nico Matawalu found himself in a bit of space here from the kick that was just slightly too long, and he managed to try to force a pass. It did go back, and then Adam Hayes picks up a lovely piece of skill, but then again it's that man Stuart McInally getting past us. So many times this game Glasgow have almost got away, almost got in behind, but the dogged determination of the Edinburgh defence has just stopped them so far. But with the threat of DTH Van der Merwe and Nico Matawalu getting their hands in the ball, there's always that threat that Glasgow can score from anywhere.
What are the messages that man Dave Rennie's sending down to his side? 10 points adrift.
I think it'll just about be possession, retaining possession. You know, that don't, you know, because the Glasgow have the ability to score and score quickly, you know, back to back. You look after the ball, give yourself an opportunity to build the possession to score. You know, if you're going to score immediately, it'll be obvious, a gap will be obvious. Don't force it, look after possession.
So Glasgow back to their full complement. Ollie Kebble has not come back on after his yellow card. Jamie Batty stays at that loose head prop position, but Fagerson is back on at 8. Edinburgh again at scrum time, looking like they have the upper hand, but it's messy in there again. We're going to look at a reset.
I love how everybody just, as soon as the whistle goes, everybody just comes out of scrum and looks at the referee. Just wondering what's going to happen next.
The attitude is a little bit better. You just need to stay.
There's a packed house here trying to second guess George Clancy, but it has been messy. How much of that, Doddy, would be down to the familiarity of these props? So many of them within that front row will have played against each other regularly. They know the little intricacies, maybe know the vulnerabilities.
Quite a lot, but in a way I think a lot is down to the referee, I'm afraid, but how we interpret it, how we get the players going. They could be telling the scrum halves to say, look, get in and get away. Let's hurry up, shout as you do in here, the rucking ball, we want the ball away. Just try and quicken up the game, because it's kind of spoilt the game a little bit with so many scrums.
And imagine Glasgow knew they had to change the picture. Edinburgh had the dominance last week, and there we go. It's Jamie Batty. Oh no, he's pointing to Siwa Halanukanuka on the far side.
It must be the far side, because the near side looked as if Jamie Batty was doing a really good job against WP that time. There's penalties up over.
You have to accept that. Back you go.
You have to accept the decision and saying.
Head and shoulders of your team.
The opposite side, you see.
Well, it's on the far side from what we're seeing there.
Well, that was the side.
Was it the side?
Yeah, 1 second now. You need to give me something in this moment.
There's a lot being said around shoulders being below the hips. So naturally, as a prop, you struggle to keep it up if your shoulders dip below your hips.
There's another thing we could bring into this as well. Is it the surface? You know, because it's not a grass surface. They can't get the studs blocked in the front row. There is a lot of pressure coming up, because this is Scotland's best teams here together. There's a lot of pressure coming through. Does that make a difference? I really don't know.
It's a consistent surface with the consistency of that man off the tee. And Jaco van der Walt makes it 4 from 4 for the afternoon. 100% record in the Pro 14 so far this season. And every time he steps up to it, it's almost not in doubt. Hastings goes quick, straight down the throat of van der Walt, who looks up and again gets a good exit. Such a key component of Edinburgh's strategy. And once again this afternoon, with a breeze at their back, they're managing to win that territory battle.
It's the simple things done well, isn't it? You know, not that certainly the goal kick wasn't simple, 45 metres out in a tricky conditions, but then Van der Walt is aware of the quick kick up, he catches it, puts boot to ball and gets his team over halfway again. You just wonder what Glasgow have to do to get into this game. Their set piece is struggling a little bit. They probably need a direct threat in attack.
They need to get their set piece sorted out as well. A missed line out there. Cecino, quick hands to Johnson. Here's Kinghorn, big step off the right. Finds Matt Fagerson in front of him, chops him to the ground. Edinburgh have a bit of front foot ball. Here's Schumann through the midfield. Gets on the outside, dummy. Horn does well to get him to the ground. But Edinburgh on the front foot. Here's van der Walt. Harley climbing on the back of him, gets him to ground. Gilchrist again, there's that man Schumann.
Leave him go!
This time finds a defender in front of him. Cecino, another. Here's Kinghorn. Kinghorn to Darcy Graham. Right footed step, gets him inside. He finds Hastings, dragging him to ground. Toulis again. Edinburgh have made 30 metres in this attack. Again, good ball. Gilchrist, big powerful carry. 2 second rowers working well. Schumann for the 3rd time in this attack. Steps off the right on this occasion. Chopped to ground. Toulis again.
Back here now.
Carrying Edinburgh within 10 or 15 metres of the Glasgow line. Glasgow look to have got men on feet and built their wall. They've slowed down Edinburgh's ball. But again, 9 phases for Edinburgh. Ritchie gone about his business well, just quietly this afternoon, defence and attack.
Roll out.
Gilchrist for his 3rd or 4th carry in this attack. Bill Mata, about time we expect to see him on the ball. The Pro 14's top carrier. Hamish Watson. Slow ball for Edinburgh. A little powerhouse. Arguably flopping over. You can see Stuart McInally and Grant Gilchrist over the top of it together with Henry Pyrgos. Edinburgh looking after possession though.
Inside now, Black.
Patience within this attack.
Stay up.
Toulis
Release tackler.
makes a yard beyond the breakdown. Schumann again looks up, sees Jamie Batty in front of him. Edinburgh happy to nibble away at the inches. McInally into his opposite man, Kevin Bryce. Phase 17 now for Edinburgh. 13-point lead for the Capito side, with the 1872 Cup in their sights, having won last week.
It's simple stuff, but they're making yards on every carry here, Edinburgh.
Inside, Black.
Really close to the breakdown, and they're making a metre, 2 metres every carry.
Schumann carry, the 20th phase. There's Bill Mata, slightly quicker ball, but Harley sharp onto his threat. 21 phases in, and Glasgow eventually win the turnover. They breathe again.
Well, it was Rob Harley's reaction to Bill Mata's carry. It was there. Rob Harley put such a big energy and work ethic in, and it was him, the most cat warrior, that made the tackle that isolated Bill Mata. But before that, I think Glasgow were a wee bit concerned at how easily, it's not easy, they're working hard, but how many times Edinburgh managed to get a yard or two on those pick and goes, Duddy.
Well, it's always very dangerous this way because it's high energy stuff. You've got to really look after the ball. You're not going very many yards as well. And you can see one wrong body position can result in a turnover, unfortunately, which is a shame because there was a lot of work, a lot of effort went into that, a lot of phase rugby as well. But it allows Glasgow right back into this game.
Rob Harley, 198th appearance for the Warriors today. Kevin Bryce finds Johnny Gray in the middle. Nico Matawalu. Big collision in the midfield. There's Ryan Wilson, ball out the back. Here's Dietage van der Merwe, space in front of him. Steps back inside and Mata lines him up, gets him to ground. McInally has a nibble. George Horn looking to bring energy. Line speed again on Hastings. Johnson looks up. Here's Matawalu. Gets beyond Darcy Graham. Little scrubber in behind. But Pyrgos does really well to read that. Physicality, fire and pace, all within that phase of play. Glasgow looking to light up this second half, and it started with this one.
It's a big collision. It's Nico Matawalu getting his hands on the ball off the set piece again, and as soon as he gets his hands on the ball, he creates mayhem. This is him on the second or third phase down this left-hand side. He tries to poke the ball past Henry Pyrgos, but Henry Pyrgos manages to deflect the ball. But that's how dangerous Glasgow can be if they get their threatening players on the ball.
This is where Glasgow are very dangerous, must say. They play a very fast game of rugby like Scotland do, and if they get the forwards and the backs until how they've done, it looks like they've just had, I think, a talk coming on to say, look, quicken this game up.
It came as a result of Matawalu making yards over the gain line. If that first carry, or if any of the guys don't get over the gain line, it's very difficult then to get to the edge, to get the quick ball to play. So I suppose he started and finished it.
Why is it taking them 66 minutes to do that?
Yeah.
Luke Crosby is on for Jamie Ritchie in the back row. 13 and a half minutes to go. And again, Maul, Edinburgh looked to got through and spoiled it. But the ball's there. George Clancy points at it and says, get on with it. Fagerson on the carry. Watson brings him down. George Horn looks to have a go himself, gobbled up at the back. Henry Pyrgos is down in the backfield. Gets himself back to the feet, but he's hobbling. Horn again. Here's Halanuka.
Okay.
Schumann with a chop tackle.
Advantage.
Horn playing the defender well there, but Glasgow have the advantage. They come to the blind side, and Edinburgh have numbers defensively. Glasgow have lost their shape a little bit. Like to find it again through Fagerson. Shot by his opposite man, Mata.
Not coming. Wait, I'll give you the mark. It's over here. Hang on.
George Clancy slowing down play to get back to the mark.
So it's in the way of the scrum half pass.
There we go. Very
Captain.
clear. Defender in the way of the scrum half pass.
When you see that again, if we see it again, you can see it's quite a professional, fast thing to do. He knew a lot was going on.
Just be careful of that clean out, okay? Just be
I
careful.
think he knew what was happening there. Very
9
clever.
white, substitution, 9 white.
Clever play. Scrum half obviously understood. So much of what Glasgow love to do is
So he's gone
play
off
that
at the far
penalty
side,
advantage.
lads,
I think the
okay?
try came off it just before half-time last week.
What?
And George Horn on that occasion. Nathan Fowles is on for Henry Pyrgos, who looked to have picked up a knock in that last phase of play. There he is, he's on his feet, but hobbling a little bit. Fowles, his 50th appearance. He's now off the bench. The ball coming down, taken well by Fagerson there.
Over in 15.
Glasgow set up the maul.
Scrum half, once.
Pete Horn joins them all, together with Sam Johnson. There are 11 men in there. Now they look to rebuild. Ryan Wilson's back to his feet, together with Johnny Gray. Oh, but he's knocked it on there. Edinburgh have turnover ball here. Cecino looks downtown. That one didn't come out the screws and falls to Tommy Seymour. So it's starting to open up a little bit as we come into the last 10 minutes here at Scotstoun Stadium. Here's Matawalu, steps off the left. Kinghorn does well. Together with Fowles. Here's Fagerson. Taps a little bit high to Gibbons and once again goes loose. Unforced error from Glasgow is on here, down the left wing.
Advantage over.
Duhan van der Merwe, we saw him go in from 80 metres last week. He gets Edinburgh back on the front foot. Slow motion in the midfield between the two second rowers there. Some tired bodies starting to form, which inevitably will mean a little bit of space. Here's Bill Mata. Gets beyond the first tackle of Pete Horn. Nico Matawalu did just enough to get him into touch.
It was breathless, wasn't it? It was almost getting away Bill Mata on the outside. His Fijian counterpart Nico Matawalu just makes the tackle.
Time off, please.
And he was the only one that was prepared to run, really. Almost the crowd went silent, the players almost stopped slow motion because there's so much exhaustion. But Bill Mata picked it up and almost got away on the outside.
Okay. The Mata in the previous games has been outstanding, very quiet so far. Right. Today, again, they should be using him for more because he's an absolute outstanding carrier of the ball. He's been used as a decoy quite often, but today, just not quite been in the game, but there's still some 10 minutes to go.
Well, the Fijian Colossus retained his top of the league carrying stats from last week. Luke Hamilton is second to him. He's obviously absent this afternoon, having picked up a head knock last weekend. Edinburgh changed both front rowers. Power coming on off the bench. Alan Dell and Simon Bergen replacing Pierre Schumann and WP Nell, who have gone well. Richard Cockrell, that man who was in picture a second ago, will be desperate to see his side see this one through.
It's a lot of experience to come off the bench, isn't it? In that front row, Alan Dell and Simon Bergen really good dynamic players as well. They'll bring an impact, but I must say the two props who've just left the field have had a massive game, and Pierre Schumann and WPNL.
The scrum has been messy all afternoon, but around the field in the loose they've done incredible work. There's Ryan Wilson, the Glasgow co-captain, looking to lead some change for Glasgow. Oh, George Horn missing his man, it's falling to Darcy Graham. Oh, he was tackled in there. Edinburgh get penalty advantage. Matawalu tackling him in there. Edinburgh go to the midfield. It's Cecino losing his footing. But Chris, Glasgow at home do not lose. This afternoon, they have just been so wasteful in possession, haven't they?
It's inaccuracies. I mean, you see that move there, a set piece to come back to George Horn, but then the pass is poor. That's just instinct from Nico Matawalu, nothing more than a penalty for tackling Darcy Graham in the air. Darcy Graham was so sharp onto the ball. But yeah, Glasgow just they've almost done some parts of the game right, and then it's been, you know, interspersed with a poor decision or a poor execution of a pass. And Edinburgh have just been similar to last week, the team who are more dependable, more reliable on their set piece, more control about how they've tried to play. But with Glasgow, there's always that possibility, that opportunity to score from nothing. But Edinburgh have controlled the last 2 weeks, probably more so than that man Richard Cockrell would have hoped.
I don't want to put the commentator's curse on either side, but Edinburgh seem to be very good at defending a lead, particularly with this defence under Callum McRae. They just get to their feet again and again, and they've done so. They've got that lead. It is a 13-point lead, so it's not quite 2 scores. But with the clock ticking, just over 7 minutes to go, and this field position, Edinburgh have the box seat right now. Nathan Fowles looking to drive his pack forward. McAnally at the back in possession. Here's Cecino, steps off his left, gets beyond Fazaro. Fazaro, who's come on in the midfield, I think. Fowles finds Bergen. Fowles again. This time it's Crosby on the carry. McAnally. Patience once again the key factor for Edinburgh here. Nice little offload from Cecino. Manages to free up his hands.
Second man.
Gets an extra couple of metres. There's Van der Vault. Crosby, the youngster, on the carry. 21-year-old. McAnally, he has turned up again and again this afternoon. Top tackler last week, but he's been on the ball a lot this week. Good line speed from Glasgow. Look to have their hands on this ball. George Clancy goes to the sky again. And Glasgow give themselves another chance.
Yeah, it was Sam Johnson who decided to come out the line, make the tackle on Blair Kinghorn, and then the second man in, I think, was Chris Fazaro, who's replaced Peter Horns, playing in the midfield. And then from the penalty, the quick penalty, Adam Hastings finds a good touch, and Glasgow, if they launch here, then who knows, the ability to score tries and score tries quickly then becomes a big part of the game.
Stuart McAnally gives way now. What a shift he's put in. Dave Cherry comes on off the bench, the scorer of Edinburgh's try this afternoon. McAnally has led from the front once again.
Substitution for White.
Another change as well. Callum Hunter-Hill striding on for Ben Toulis.
Number 4, Ben Toulis, replaced by number 19, Callum.
5 minutes to go here at Scotstoun.
1 second now.
Conference A leaders Glasgow, trailing Conference 5th place in Conference B. Edinburgh, 3 points to 16 at the moment. Something has to change here for Glasgow to get themselves back into this game. An accumulation of only 10 points across 155 minutes so far for Edinburgh, for Glasgow in these 2 matches. Well drilled Edinburgh defence, that time again taking Matawalu down. Horn gets it away. There's Batty.
You can see, Rory, there's a bit of different structure to Edinburgh. You can see on the VT there, Edinburgh and the defence, nice straight line up, quick, all working together. Where Glasgow and the attacker, maybe ones and twos going in, bit scrappy.
Here's Hastings. Wilson looks for the offload to Seymour. It's scrappy again. Cherry adds his weight to Seymour. Hastings gets just outside Mata. Ball away to Johnson there, hitting a nice line. Horn to Dietrich van der Merwe to Horn. Fagerson, he's been tireless, he's kept going. He obviously got punished 10 minutes in the bin for Kebble's yellow card. Hastings again, Seymour's got to pick up some scraps. Gets Matawalu. It's scrappy, but Seymour regathers, does well. Offloading inside. Glasgow have the line out. But with all of this time,
it's over.
We edge closer to the 80th minute, and fellas, we have 3.5 minutes, but right now it's Edinburgh's to lose. Who is your man of the match this evening?
Well, it's a tough one. You know, the packs have fronted up. I think for Edinburgh, Jacques van der Waals control things really well at 10, but there's one guy in the pack for me, from Edinburgh's pack, that's been destructive in so many facets of the match. The Guinness man of the match is Edinburgh's #1, Pierre Schumann. He's had a massive game in the scrum. He's won penalties for his side. He's carried hard, and for me, he's been the guy who's really made a difference up front so far. Who knows what will happen at the end of the game? But Guinness man of the match, Pierre Schumann.
Time on.
Good choice, Mossy. Well done.
Mossy admired his scrummaging all afternoon.
Yeah, good effort.
No, to be fair to him, he was exceptional with and without ball. A couple of times pinged for not getting out of the ruck, but he's not been punished too much. Penalty again. That's the 11 or 12 conceded by Edinburgh this afternoon, 12 conceded by Glasgow as well. It's way above the normal stats of George Clancy.
Injury.
Grant Gilchrist getting a little bit of treatment.
This afternoon's Guinness.
Now, if there is a team in the Guinness Pro 14 who can come back from 13 points down with 3 minutes to go, it's probably Glasgow, but they're going to have to do something absolutely incredible to get that.
Well, they've got the ability to do it, and they've got the individuals to do it. We'll have another look at this. Footwork off the ball. Grant Gilchrist quite like penalised for trying to pull them all down. But yeah, Glasgow can, but they've never had the control this afternoon from their set piece or in and around it. And when they have threatened, the pass has gone to deck or there's been a mistake in there. So the basics are what have to be done well, but they do have the ability to score and score quickly. And this is an opportunity now for Kevin Bryce to find his man and launch the next attack.
And he hits his man. Oh, Glasgow, really good foundation on Johnny Gray there. Edinburgh possibly guilty of bringing it to ground, but George Clancy's happy. The time continues to tick by, 2.5 minutes to go. George Horn at the base, has a dummy, Scurry gets over. Glasgow's first try of the afternoon. They sprint down back to halfway, and Nico Matawalu looks to get a hold of a ball for the conversion very quickly. You see Adam Hastings in picture. An important conversion though. He's making it more difficult than he needs to.
He's so electric around the breakdown, George Horn. That was a good drive that time from Glasgow. Good win at the line out. They got momentum. And then from there, Edinburgh were stressed, and George Horn so quick on his feet, and the power as well to spin through the tackle. And Aaron Hastings will be looking to add this, but also as quickly as he can add the points and get back.
Kicking into the breeze, and he's missed it, and that keeps the deficit at 8. That man George Horn gets over for his 6th try in 5 Pro 14 outings this season. The defence bought the dummy enough for him to get over, but Adam Hastings' missed conversion means that Edinburgh leads 16 points to 8 with little over a minute left.
It's a difficult one, that, because you have to take it quickly, but at the same time you have to take your time in order to give yourself the best opportunity of kicking the goal.
crowd aren't happy with the time that Blair Kinghorn's taking on the kick-off, but he's allowed to do so. And he maybe should have kicked it a little bit quicker and more accurately, because Glasgow have a platform, but they only have 45 seconds to score, convert and get back to the halfway again.
Going back to that kick as well, it brought them in within 7, so they got some extra points and then possibly try the end. So very important, unfortunately. But very difficult to kick because we saw the wind's up again.
The wind has definitely kicked up again towards the end of the second half. Now for Glasgow, it has to be about a losing bonus point at home, which we're not used to seeing from this Glasgow Warriors side. 8 try bonus points on 11 outings so far this season in the Pro 14. They love scoring tries. But that's the clock. Tick beyond 80 minutes. It's up and away from Fagerson to Hastings. Hastings with a dummy. Line for DT's Van der Merwe. Van der Merwe gets his hands free. But if there's a moment to sum up the afternoon, there it is. It is all over here at Scotstoun. Glasgow Warriors have been downed by Edinburgh Rugby by 16 points to 8. And the 1872 Cup is going to find its way back to the capital. Edinburgh retaining the trophy for the 5th time in 6 seasons.